The power of becoming, why your past self is the only person you should compete with. There may be no greater reward in life than having a problem that's actually worth solving. Not just a problem, but something real, deep, meaningful. A challenge that gives your life structure. A reason to rise, no matter how rough the night was. Because when you wake up and you know what must be done, even if you're suffering, you keep going. There's momentum. Purpose. And purpose is the antidote to bitterness. Now, you can interpret the world in 1,000 different ways. Some might say in endless ways. But here's the trap: when every path looks valid, you can lose all sense of direction. You become paralyzed, not because you don't care, but because you don't know where to begin. But not every interpretation is helpful, productive, or sustainable. And not every path will lead you to something worth carrying. A big reason people suffer needlessly today is comparison. You look around and all you see are the shiny exteriors. People on social media, colleagues who seem to have it all figured out, that stranger driving the sports car. But what you don't see are the battles they're fighting behind closed doors. Their burdens. Their history. Their costs. And yet, you compare your full, messy, beautiful humanity to their highlight reel. That's the wrong mirror. A better mirror, the only mirror that truly reflects growth, is your past self. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. That's the only game you can win. It's also the only one that matters. Because you can be better than you were. Maybe just a little, but better. And that's accessible to everyone. That's what it means to live a virtuous life. If you ignore that quiet voice inside you urging you forward, if you neglect that inner calling, you'll suffer for it. Maybe not today. But eventually. And worse, you'll know it was your fault. Because deep down, you'll know you abandoned what could have been. We like to think that what we're doing right now is safe, normal, the default. But nothing is risk-free. Your current path has risks you've simply gotten used to. They're invisible to you. Comfort has made you blind to them. But they're there. And if you never question them, you'll stay in a fog of mediocrity, unaware of the subtle ways you're falling short. That's why clarity is so painful and so powerful. When you sharpen your criteria for success, when you define exactly what better means, you begin to see your failures clearly. But that's not a curse. That's a gift. Because what you can see, you can fix. Or at least you can adjust. You can adapt. You can grow. So why not build a life that's worth living in? One that you can take ownership of. One that, even on the worst day, still feels meaningful. Because anything less isn't worth the cost. People you envy? The ones you resent because they're ahead of you? You don't know their pain. You don't know what it took. And often, the thing you resent, the status, the success, is just an illusion crafted by your mind. Jealousy often stems from an illusion. A fantasy, not reality. You're unique. Your history, temperament, traumas, abilities, no one else has your combination. So comparison becomes nonsense. It's like comparing a tree to a river. Both grow. Both change. But in entirely different ways. So again, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's measurable. That's real. And here's the truth, small improvements are possible almost every single day. You don't need a miracle. You just need movement. 1 degree better. That's all it takes. Because 1 degree, repeated daily, becomes a whole new direction. And while we're at it, choose your company wisely. Share your good news with those who celebrate you. And your bad news with those who support you. Not everyone is safe to open up to. Beauty, true beauty, calls us to rise. It reminds us there's more to life than survival. That mystery, meaning, and transcendence still exist. That life is worth the pain. And despite everything that's wrong in the world, despite the noise and chaos, there has never been a better time for the majority of people to be alive. Yes, we're vulnerable. Yes, tragedy is real. But we also have more tools than ever to shape a future that works. And that future? It depends on our capacity to make wise, honest, responsible decisions. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. But responsibility is hard. And that's why you don't give everything to someone. Because when everything is handed to you, you lose the need to rise. You lose the muscle of personal effort. That convertible you see speeding down the highway? The driver might be moments away from crashing it into a wall, not out of thrill, but despair. Everyone carries a burden. Everyone. Even the lucky ones. Even the rich. Even the successful. Often, especially them. So be careful with your judgments. What looks like fortune might be hiding a storm. And again, compare yourself to your former self. Track your own arc. See how you rise, stumble, and rise again. That's the real journey. That's the real story. There's something profoundly good in pursuing truth, in being honest. Not just with others, but with yourself. You can go a long way just by refusing to lie. It's harder than it sounds, but it's powerful. Now let's talk ability. Intelligence matters. And fit matters. If you're in a role that overwhelms your capacity, you'll burn out. You'll suffer, and so will those around you. The sweet spot? Be in a place where you're challenged, but not crushed. Ideally, you want your skills to land you in the top 25% of your field. That's where fulfillment and performance meet. Don't be the slowest in the room, it's miserable. But also, don't always be the smartest. You should always be learning, growing, being challenged. If you want to be exceptional, you'll need more than talent. You'll need stress tolerance, discipline, and grit. Because being at the top isn't just about IQ, it's about endurance. And remember, success doesn't come from one brilliant idea. It comes from relentless iteration. Persistence. Trying again and again, even when the market says no. Especially when it says no. Most creative people fail. Not because their ideas are bad, but because timing, marketing, and delivery are unforgiving. So don't tie your self-worth to each attempt. Just keep trying. That's the path. So ask yourself, how do you want your life to look 3 to 5 years from now? What do you want in your relationships, your health, your career, your time? Your friendships? Your contribution to the world? That vision, that picture of your future self, is what activates your motivation system. Your dopamine reward system only fires when you're moving towards something valuable. No goal equals no fuel. And about health, are you in decent shape? If not, that's one of the simplest, most impactful changes you can make. Strength, coordination, stamina, these aren't luxuries. They're foundations. Exercise isn't optional. It's how you protect your mind, your longevity, your future self. Your fluid intelligence, your ability to think on your feet, starts to decline at 25. Exercise delays that significantly. And relationships? Build them. Keep them. Cultivate a network. That's your safety net. That's your opportunity machine. That's your legacy. Trustworthiness, generosity, depth, these are rare and valuable traits. And they pay dividends far greater than money ever could. Service matters. Helping someone sincerely is more fulfilling than almost anything else. Try it. You'll see. Ethics isn't just morality, it's strategy. A virtuous life is the best long-term strategy. Be who people can trust. Be the one who rises when others crumble. That's power. When life knocks you down, and it will, you need skills that aren't high maintenance. Something that grounds you. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's walking in nature. Something that's not about winning, but about being. So what should you focus on in your 20s, or at any stage? Quit harmful habits. If drinking or substances are derailing your life, stop. If you regret what you do under the influence, that's your answer. Get in shape. Your future self will thank you. Build relationships and networks. You'll need them. Not just for opportunity, but for meaning. Pursue something meaningful. Something you'd suffer for. That's where purpose lives. Be honest. Especially when it's hard. Especially with yourself. And here's something else, anything that happens every day, that's your life. Not your vacation. Not the occasional big moment. The little things. How you eat. How you talk. Who you talk to. Make those things beautiful. Fix the small things. They're not small. They're your entire life. Ask, what is the minimum step I can take today toward fixing this? Then take it. That's the thread. Pull it. You don't control your dreams. They happen. Just like your ideas. But you can listen to them. You can be honest enough to say, there's something calling me. You don't need to name it. Just don't ignore it. And when you find yourself in front of a problem so massive it paralyzes you, remember, that's exactly what makes it worth facing. If you're going to live anyway, make it count. Aim at something. Anything. And then watch how the act of aiming changes you. Over time, your aim becomes clearer. You become wiser. You grow into the person who can actually solve the very problem that once scared you. The greater the burden you accept, the deeper the meaning you'll uncover. So don't avoid responsibility. Run toward it. You're not as far behind as you think. And you're not alone. Just be 1 degree better than you were yesterday. That's the game. That's the way forward. And it's a game you can win.